You didn't notice it starting. You were just standing in the shower or lying in bed or staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. and suddenly you were somewhere else, having a conversation that never happened, winning an argument from years ago, living a version of your life where everything finally makes sense. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You're not just daydreaming. You're trying to solve something. Most people call it overthinking, but it's more automatic than that. It's not a decision you make. You don't sit down and say, I'm going to imagine an entire conversation now. It just happens. Your brain constructs a scene, detailed, emotional, immersive, and places you inside it before you even realize you've left the present. And here's what's usually avoided in how this is described. The emotions in those scenarios are real. Your heart rate changes. Your body responds. You feel anger at someone who didn't actually say anything. You feel relief from an apology that was never given. Your brain treats the simulation like an experience. That's the part most people don't talk about. There's something else underneath it, a quieter layer. People who do this, they're not escaping reality because they're weak. They're usually people who learned at some point that the world doesn't give them control, that conversations don't go the way they planned, that being understood isn't guaranteed. So the brain builds a place where it is. In your mind, you're the director. You get to say the perfect thing. People respond the way you want them to. The scene unfolds exactly as it should. And here's the contradiction most people live with but rarely admit. The simulation becomes more satisfying than real interaction. Not because you want to avoid life, but because in the simulation, you're finally safe. But something changed slowly, and then all at once. The tool that was meant to prepare you started to trap you. You rehearse the conversation so many times that you never actually have it. You imagine the success so vividly that the real work feels less urgent. You replay the hurt so often that you stay stuck inside it. You start getting angry at people for things they only did in your head. You feel disappointed when real life doesn't match the script you wrote. And slowly, almost invisibly, the gap between your inner world and the outer world widens. The present stops feeling like the present. It turns into a waiting room between scenarios. There's a way to work with this instead of against it. Not by stopping. Not by shamming yourself. By asking one question when you catch yourself inside a scenario. Is this preparing me or protecting me? Preparing means you're rehearsing something you actually plan to do. Protecting means you're hiding in fantasy to avoid discomfort. Your brain will use scenarios for both. Learn to recognize which one you're in. And then this part matters. Don't fight the scenario. Write it down. Just a few lines. Psychologists call this expressive writing. It works because it completes the loop your brain is stuck in. Once the scenario has form outside your mind can let it go. You might call it overthinking, but it was never just thinking. It was your brain trying to give you control in a world that often feels uncontrollable, trying to make you feel understood when nobody around you was offering that, trying to prepare you for conversations you were too afraid to start. The scenarios were never the problem. They were always trying to give you something real. Maybe the goal isn't to stop imagining. Maybe it's to finally have the conversation you've been rehearsing all along.